Oh, we're live! Justin, you made it happen.
Yay!
Okay,
Justin
Aaron
saved the
has been,
day.
let's just say, I have been banned from Facebook Live, which is, do you think it's because I broke down because I ran out of gas yesterday, Tom?
Too much shenanigans, man.
Was
Too
it,
many flags on the play.
oh, was it the penalty flags for our VIP?
Okay. It might have been the VIP. Too many people are subscribing for the TV.
That's what it is. Yeah. Shameless plug. If you haven't
Figured it out.
figured out how to win our 55-inch smart TV, get with anybody on the HRVA Homes team before
That's
Sam
right.
and Tom try and hang it up in their office. So, what are we cooking today?
We're making meatballs.
Oh, yeah.
Meatballs and sauce.
Sauce. It's Sunday.
Sauce.
It's
Sunday
appropriate.
gravy.
Yeah, Sunday
It's
gravy.
not a full gravy with
Are you
meat.
making
Because
sauce
gravy.
too?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
Can't
like.
make meatballs without gravy.
Well, I didn't
All right,
think
let's get
so,
started.
but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you could. You can make different kinds. I wasn't very clear in my
I'm a
posting, but
floating head right now, so I'm actually going to stick myself up here in the top right. You can't even see it. It's pretty fantastic though. All right, go for it.
all right. I believe it. I don't see it, but I believe it. All right, so we're getting started. We're making meatballs. We're going to start with the meatballs first, and then I'll work into the sauce, and then we'll let it all sit and get happy. And I have one that I have been smelling up the house lovely with since earlier this morning. Meatballs. Step one, bread, right? So we're going to make a paneer. Paneer is like it's paneer. It's like a bread dough. So bread and water, bread and milk, bread and some liquid to make like a paste. We're going to use this to put some moisture in there, also help with some binding. So we're going to use, I use about 3 pieces of bread, any kind of bread, white bread, whatever you like. About 2 tablespoons of milk. We're just going to let that get soak it all up, get happy, just leave it off to the side for now. But this is a pretty good tip if you don't do this already to help incorporate some good moisture and some flavor in there. That bread will hold on to that milk and does some wonderful things.
And you're using any kind of milk, right? Any kind of milk will work.
Yeah, I used oat milk because that's what we have, but whole milk, cream, anything you got that's liquidy. You could even use water if you really had nothing else. But
Yeah.
all right, next. For my meat, I always mix it up with a combination of beef and pork. Beef, pork. So this is about a pound total. I usually do about a pound of each, but I cut it in half because I made some to start. So we've got a pound total of meat here between the two. I usually try to go closest to 80-20 that you can for the ground beef because you want some of that fat content in there. Okay, so we're going to put the beef, the pork. We've got our bread going. We got to chop up a couple things. Let me grab. Switch sides with you. So we're going to put an onion. I've got half of a white onion, and I'm actually going to grate it up because I don't want large chunks of onion in there. If you really, really like large chunks of onions, don't do this. But just a simple little grate on the grater. Watch your digits.
That's pretty. Oh, I took you off.
Oh, I'm gone.
Nope, there you are. You're back. Too much
I'm back.
clicking. I like the grated idea. That gives. I like small onion anyway,
Yeah.
so I really like that idea. You see that?
Yeah, so you're going to get really, really good onion flavor without the big chunky onions. And, you know, sometimes you get those big raw onion bites, it feels like. So this is going to help with that. This is also good when you're making other dishes like kebab or like a kefta kind of thing, and you're mixing meats on a kebab. You grate up the onions so you don't get those big chunks in there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So just really make sure you don't cut yourself. That's the most important part here.
Yeah,
Then
when
you
you
get
get
to, I
down to
left
the end.
the little knot end on because it holds it together a little bit longer. But just be careful. No meatball's worth losing a finger.
Justin's here. He's watching with us today, so.
Awesome. All right, so we've got that. We're going to set that to the side. Now, this onion that's not bad, we'll just save it and we'll put it in the sauce later. I'll chop it up and add it to it. Or if you got stock going, just do that too, right? With that, I'm going to put 1 whole egg. I usually do about 1 egg per pound of protein. If you want to do chicken meatballs, do chicken meatballs. You want to do anything. Turkey, venison, Go nutso. Lamb. The most important part is you have a little bit of fat content. So if you can get like an 80-20 or a little bit closer, you can go a little bit higher than that, 87-13.
I was going to say on chicken, would it be easier to dry that out? Or turkey?
I mean, you could do it, right? It's just don't cook the heck out of it.
Yeah.
It really comes down to how you cook it overall.
Right.
All right, so I like some fresh herbs, right? We're going to do some basil. We're going to make a chiffonade. You kind of just take the leaves off of the stems. Again, the stems, we can put that in the sauce later on. There's nothing wrong with that. So you roll it up as tight as you can with the leaves, and you kind of just make a nice little julienne, also known as a chiffonade. If you want to get fancy one. Alrighty. I think Shizuka's crying because my meatballs are so good. I'm not crying. You're crying. All right, parsley. This is Italian parsley. You can use curly parsley. You can use any parsley. I washed this already. Make sure you wash it off. It does tend to be a little sandy. We're going to rough chop it first just to get it off. I don't want to use too much of the big stems, so kind of keep those to the side for your stock, or just toss them or compost pile.
Needs to be pretty dry, right? When you wash it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it a nice, easier product to use, but if it's a little damp, it's fine. It's just going to be a little clumpy, and it'll come apart as you're cooking it, but if you're trying to, decorate with it or use it nicely as a finishing touch, you want it to be dry.
Sure. I think it's harder to cut for sure when it's not dry.
All right, so we're just going to chop this down. Now, this is the way I make meatballs. Obviously, if you don't like something, you can switch it out. If you don't have something, let's say you don't have fresh parsley, put some dry in there. You want to make a little Spanish-style meatball? Why not? Go cumin and chili powder and paprika, those kind of things. Just have fun with it. That's what's fun about cooking versus baking, in my opinion. Baking is too scientific, and cooking is a little more fun. You can experiment and try different things. If you mess up, you just tweak it. Garlic, 2 cloves of garlic for 1 pound. Give it a good smashola. That's a technical term, by the way. Smashola. And if you remember from our previous shows, we're going to put a little bit of salt in there because I'm going to grind this up to a paste as close as I can. Because, again, we don't want big chunks of garlic in there like the onions, but I don't want to lose my fingers, and I don't have a guard on that grate, so I'm just going, or a microplane, so I'm just going to use this old-fashioned way they taught us in school. A little bit of salt and just grind it down like this, and you got a nice garlic paste. One thing I learned,
you are getting a lot of requests for sauce, but you're doing that today, correct? You're doing...
Yeah, sauce is coming up.
Don't want anybody to think we're doing sauce. We are doing sauce. That's a hot one.
We hit a to the subject?
Yeah, no, I think they really want they really want the sauce with the meatballs. Of course he's doing sauce with the meatballs.
All right. I think they'll be surprised. There's not very many secrets in it, and that's what's good about a good sauce.
Yeah.
All right. So let me just wash this off real quick. All right, so let's just recap. We've got parsley chopped up, basil chopped up, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 egg, half a pound of pork, half a pound of beef, and our grated onion. One thing we're missing now is some Parmesan cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All good meatballs have Parmesan cheese. If you've got a chunk laying around, grate it up fresh. It's always the best. If not, use the other stuff. It's okay. I'm going to get as close as I can to finishing this up. It'll probably be about 2 tablespoons worth. And then we'll use the rind as well. I'll show you. I just think Parmesan cheese is the best thing in there. And it really comes down to seasoning. I mean, that's what we want to make sure is the most important. All right, we're almost there. What we got? That's about 2 tablespoons, eh? Mm-hmm. All right, so again, we're close to the rind here, the end of the Parmesan cheese, which is very hard and inedible. So don't throw it away. Take that and we'll put it in the sauce later, and that'll be a really, really good addition to our sauce. All right, so I say. Okay, so we got our stove going. I'm going to go not too hot. We're going to go about medium, which on a, what do you call these things? Glass top stove is about a 5 to 6. Are you showing me? Oh, I think you're like focusing on me. Okay.
Now
So
she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that handsome guy.
All right. So seasoning, obviously the 4 seasonings.
What are the 4 seasonings for the newbies?
Garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and salt. And I would say about a teaspoon of each one.
Looks sharp on that apron there. We finally let little Sam have an apron.
I know.
Actually, we didn't let him.
So
He just went and got it.
Yeah, he just took it. He's like, oh, I need one of these. We told him you got to make recommendations on the show, and then you can win it.
Yeah, he's out. He's out showing some new construction way out in Suffolk this morning. So
nice. All right, so we've got all of our seasoning. We've got all of our product. We're going to put the bread in here, okay? If there's a lot of moisture left, just squeeze out some of it. But this one I put just enough to not have too much left over, which is the idea, okay? There's no way around mixing meatballs without using these wonderful things given to us called hands. You just got to get in there, get dirty with it, make a meatball.
sometimes when I do that, it's so cold, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah, yes, it's fine. I won't get it. I do agree with you, and that's why I always try to take my meat out a little bit if I can early, so it gets closer to room temperature. 1, it's good for cooking, and 2, it just doesn't make your hands freezing cold. So I did put to the side of there, Shizuku can show you, I have some panko breadcrumbs. I may add a little bit to this. I kind of reserve some of that for if it's a little bit wet. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Do you like the
but I'll probably put
panko over like a traditional Italian breadcrumb?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm at the store and I'm buying one, I will buy panko all the time. But if I have either one, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, it's bigger, right?
Like
the panko's a bit larger. Am I correct in thinking that?
You said the flakes were larger?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's more texture and not so ground up.
Right.
So I'm going to put about a teaspoon in here. I just want it to be a little bit drier. I don't like my meatballs too dry when they're in the sauce. I like it to be a little bit soft and super yummy. So we're going to, hey, Charlie. So that's a good consistency, right? We can get some good meatballs out of that. This is a very similar way of making like meatloaf and stuff. You might just change your seasonings a little bit, or if you want like an Italian style meatloaf, there's no different, right?
That's exactly what I do usually when I make meatloaf. It's almost the same as meatballs for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I forgot to get my Earl out. So let's put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Not too much because there is plenty of fat in these meatballs, but just enough to get the pan started, maybe a tablespoon.
I like it.
All right. Let's put that guy away. Well, I need it still. Just kidding. All right. So the stove's on. We're ready to form some meatballs. If you want to use a, what do you call those? Ice scoops, by all means do that. I'm just going to wing it and make the size that I'm going for.
That's why I usually use those scoops.
Yeah.
I've got one just for meatballs.
Yep. And I don't know. I always try to make small meatballs, but it never works out. But
that's why
we're not really doing.
That's why I have to have the scoop because I'm irresponsible with my sizing.
But we're not really doing like spaghetti and meatballs. I'm going for more like just meatballs. So I'm just gonna make them a little bit bigger. Like it's almost like you're making like an appetizer of meatball, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's nice to see one big meatball on a plate sometimes in the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a preference. Or if you think you're gonna make these for like meatball subs, then definitely go a little bit smaller. All right. So this is actually feeling really good. A nice consistency. You can see we're getting a good shape out of it, and that's what that little bit of breadcrumb helps do too. So I'm starting it out like a 5 or 6. I don't want to get too hot of a pan. I want it to like, mediumly. Is that mediumly?
Just medium.
Medium. Well, like,
let's go with it. Let's go. I like mediumly. Use it.
I just don't want to make like a heavy brown sear on the outside right away. I kind of want it to slowly get to that brown sear and then flip it over and have some time in the pan. I'm not trying to get a lot of dark color on the meatball pan. Perfect spot, Charlie. It's right by my feet every time, this guy. The work hazard.
Man's best friend. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Boozer has not laid down all day because we've been walking all over the house. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. So we're going to get these meatballs going here. We're just looking to get some nice color on the outside. We're not looking to fully cook them all the way through. That's what the sauce is going to do.
Your mom says they look great and that hopefully Jacob and Casey agree.
Yes, well, this is Jacob and Casey's favorite. They like to tell me every time I make it that grandmas are better. So that's always fun.
All right. Well, there you go, Sue Weigl. You heard it here. It's live on Facebook. It's forever immortalized. So there you go.
Just going to wash my hands real quick while those start to cook, and then we'll start the sauce here. And then we'll just put the meatballs right into the sauce when they're ready. Sorry for the loud water. All right, we're ready. Okay, meatballs are going to sear off. Watch out, Ben. So we're going to let those start to cook a little bit. I'll keep an eye on the temperature. We want to have a nice sear because we're looking for that color and flavor, but we don't want to burn it too fast. That's about as much as you want to put in the pan right there. You could have done one less, but I only had one more, so I got it in. And they're going to shrink down, so they'll start to make some room in there for each other and become happy. All right, sauce time. We're going to turn this guy on in the back.
What everybody's been waiting for with bated breath. I'm the meatball person. I like sauce, don't get me wrong, but I like the meatball side, but everybody else is waiting for the sauce.
I love a really, really good Sunday gravy kind of thing, and I haven't made it in a while, so the smell in the house right now is fantastic.
So for the Southerners in the watching, Sunday gravy is what, Tom? That's what.
Well, to me, a Sunday gravy is a red sauce with lots of meat product in it or meat product in it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, just meatballs doesn't classify. Some people it might, but yeah. I'll make some brajol if I can, some sausage, any pork product you want. You can buy a pork chop or a pork butt. You sear it off, put it in that sauce, and let it cook for a long time.
Because my folks down in Georgia are probably rolling over trying to figure out, one, why you're making gravy so late in the day, and two, why you're making it with Italian meatballs. So good explanation. Yeah. So Northerners, as we'll call them, tend to call it Sunday gravy.
That's right. It's not like biscuits and gravy, not that kind of gravy.
Right, exactly. See, that's what we think about in the South, for sure. But I had an Italian family from New Jersey, so I understand.
Yes. Alrighty, so we're going to put this pan on a little bit towards the higher side. We're going to sweat and get the onions going. Give that a second. Meatballs are coming up nicely. I think you can see, if you show the pan here, they're not really like cooking super fast. We're getting a slow sear on each side. This way they don't fall apart and they don't cook too fast, because I want to try to take the bits in the pan and use it and put it into the sauce the way you can make it also, and the way a lot of people will make it, my mom included, is use one pan. So use a bigger pan, put your meatballs in there, start with that, and then once your meatballs get going and they're out, use that same oil, go with the onions, and start to make your sauce from there.
Yeah, that's how my mom always made it too.
Yep, and it's a good way. I just sometimes, to me, this protects you in case you went too hot and the meatballs start to burn and the pan's ruined a little bit. And also, I meant to say, if you want, and if you're not comfortable, you can always put these meatballs in the oven. Just make them the same way I just did. Put them on a sheet tray, 400-degree oven, about 10 minutes, and then take them out and put them into your sauce.
The only reason I do that more often than not is because I find it to just be easier, so I can pay attention to the sauce. I don't make sauce a whole lot. I grew up with, my mother making sauce on Sundays, but I don't do it quite often. But I do. For me, it's just like I can multitask a little bit more with them in the oven. I prefer them the way you're doing it, though.
Right. But I mean, you're 100% right. And that's kind of why I'm going with the meatballs on a slow too. Because if you go too hot and I'm trying to do two things at once, you might forget something. And next thing you know, you got a product that you don't want. Another thing that you can do, and I recommend if you're used or new to seasoning and you're trying to figure things out, is take a piece of that meat that I use for the meatballs, make a little burger patty, like, quarter size or so, sear it off, cook it, and eat it and taste it. And make sure it's not salty. Make sure it's not too something. And if it's ruined at that point, don't go forward with it. Change it out, adjust, do what you got to do. But taste it first. As you become more experienced, you don't need to do all that because you kind of know what's going on. But it's a good habit to get into. You can see we got some nice browning on these meatballs. Man, it smells so good.
Yeah, those look awesome. See, that's exactly what you're describing there is always my issue, right? I do everything in fast mode, right, including cooking. Mm-hmm. So I will cook too fast, and that's probably another good reason for me to use the oven.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to try to get that way too. You rush, you try to get it done fast, and this is just not one of those things you can do that with.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree.
All right, onions are sweated out, so we're not looking for color on them. We're just looking for them to start cooking and get like a little translucent, like you see. I'm gonna put in garlic. This is jeepers, quick on the draw there. I was just gonna say it. This is about 4 cloves of garlic.
Hey, listen, your director there is on top of it. She doesn't want you to forget a thing. I like it.
It wasn't even like quietly in the earpiece. That was just like, bam, what are you doing?
It was good. It was good.
All right, so we're going to put about 4 cloves of garlic. To me, you need a lot of garlic and a good sauce.
Yeah.
We're going to let this cook and sweat a little bit. Once you start to smell the garlic, you know you're making some progress there. We're going to also add our spice in because I like to bloom the spice, if you will, by warming it up first and getting some of those natural oils to come out. It just helps. So we're going to start with about a teaspoon of each seasoning, salt, black pepper. And again, it's always good to adjust as you go, especially the salt. That's the one you don't want to mess up too badly on. And if you need to add more as you're cooking and you're going on, just add a little bit at a time. Taste it. If it's good, you're good.
We have salt arguments in our house because I've been using Morton salt.
Iodized salt.
Iodized salt.
Oh, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm on Team Kosher.
Yeah, I know. I keep getting yelled at, so sorry.
Tom,
I don't cook that much.
Tom, do you use iodized salt for anything?
No, I don't even buy it.
Well, probably because we've had it for years, and salt goes bad, so I need to watch it. But
yeah, I just like. I mean, you can easily over salt with that. I mean, kosher salt is about 2 to 1 almost compared to that. So be careful on your salting with that stuff. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, here we go. So I put the seasons. I'm going to put a little bit of red pepper flakes. I like red pepper flakes in my sauce. Not enough to make it spicy, but just enough to know there's something in there. I also put some dry basil, about a teaspoon, even though I'm going to put some fresh basil in, just at different levels. Oregano, I'm not a huge fan, but I will put about a dash in. I just feel like you have to, even though I don't love it.
yeah, Italian, I mean, I feel like you don't have a choice. But it can have such a bitter taste to it.
Exactly. So we got these going. Immediately, you're going to start to smell the herbs, and that's what we're trying to do is get those oils to come out really quickly in there. I'm going to use tomato product here. This is from Lidl. I love this stuff. It's from Italy. It's really just like fresh tomato pureed in a jar. I crushed tomatoes I like. If you want to start with a tomato sauce, like a ragu or something, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, but definitely.
But I like to go
that
more
up, right?
Tomato.
Yeah.
Crushed tomato or tomato puree. Don't be afraid of some water. You can see about enough to get all the good stuff that's still in that jar. Why waste it? Give it a good shake. We'll get all that yummy stuff out because we're going to let the sauce cook for a while too. So that water will reduce down and be a nice flavor.
Oh, that makes sense. My mother always added red wine into hers.
Into the jars?
Into the sauce.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got some red coming up here in a minute.
Okay, cool.
And that's kind of why I'm keeping this pan. I don't want this to burn because that's where the red wine's going to go.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so sauce. Let's stir this up. We'll get this cooking. So that's looking yummy. I got to put our cheese rind that we had, right? Don't throw it away. That's pure flavor. Let it cook in there.
So you just throw the whole thing in there?
Yep, just throw the whole thing. It's not going to fall apart. It's going to get really, really soft.
Sure.
But all that cheese flavor is going to come out and do some magical things in there.
That's cool.
If you don't have that, just put some grated cheese in at the end of it. But that cheese rind really brings a lot of flavor in. So I chop up a little bit of fresh basil in there. I've got the stem. Again, don't throw it out. It's clean. Just put it in there. Let it put its flavor in. And then we'll pull it out later. Just remember you got it in there.
That's like a bay leaf, right? Remember you got it in.
Yeah, similar. One thing I learned recently about bay leaves, which was very interesting, is that everybody always wonders in the cooking world, like, is it actually putting flavor in? What's it actually doing? And what I've read is that it is changing the fats in the product that you're cooking. So it's making it more digestible and better.
Yeah, I actually looked this up. That's really funny. I looked this up maybe in last year for the same reason. Like, what does it even do? Because doesn't really have any kind of anything going to it.
Right.
So,
You don't taste like a bay leaf flavor, but it's helping breaking down these fats into a more digestible and flavorful, and it's really cool, the science of it. So these are good, right? We're not looking to cook them all the way through. We just want them to be seared, and we're going to drop them in our sauce.
And Leslie Sturm just asked us what we're making because it looks so good. Meatballs and sauce.
Hey, Leslie, how are you? Yeah, so we're just going to put these meatballs in here, and I'm going to let this cook roughly 45 minutes. It's just on a low simmer. So I've got this here. I don't have a ton of oil. Stay there. I'm going to reach over you. Hold on one second. There's not a ton of oil. If I had a lot of oil in there, I would probably dump it out into like the jar or something safely. I'm just going to absorb some of it. It's okay if there's a little bit in there. And then I'm going to take some red wine and deglaze the pan, which we have talked about before, right? Deglazing is getting all those wonderful bits off the bottom of the pan, off the side. That's all that flavor that you work so hard on to create with the sear, so we don't want to throw it away. And then also red wine and sauce is very yummy, so I will put it in sometimes. Sometimes I don't. If you have it, great. One thing you want to make sure you do, and you see all that steam coming off, that's the alcohol cooking off. We want to get that alcohol out, so we're really just working with a flavorful juice of grape that is now wine. So just a little bit, just to let that alcohol cook off, and it'll keep cooking off once we put it into the sauce, and then we're really going to be left with that yummy flavor of wine. Vino de rojo. Huh? Look at that. All kinds of languages.
So real quick, if you want an apron like Tom's, then you have to start leaving comments on what you want Tom to make. And if he chooses that, you can swing by the office, and if we pick your idea, then you swing by the office and you grab a t-shirt or an apron, your choice.
Yeah. And really, I just need some good ideas. I always enjoy the interaction, and I've heard some clients as I'm out and about, and they're like, "Oh, I loved your show, and now I'm going to go make it." That's awesome. Like, I really appreciate that. And anytime you want to let us know, that'd be great too. So the red wine is in there. I'm just going to stir this up.
Hey, Tom.
And yes, sir.
Hey, do you have a preference? There's so many different types of red wines out there. Do you have a preference? I mean, you're not just using red cooking wine, are you?
I don't use cooking wine, no. My rule of thumb, and I think everybody's rule or theory should be, if you're not going to drink it, don't cook with it.
All right.
So I actually use wine that I drink with. So I have no problem. It's nothing great. It's box wine from Lidl. Aldi.
Hey, listen, some of those are high-rated box wines, right? $2 Chuck.
Exactly.
I mean, people drink it.
$2.50 a bottle. And I'm like, how do I not drink this? It's so good. So, but no, I mean, I won't cook with anything I don't drink with.
Okay.
Or wouldn't drink. So that's that. We're gonna let this cook. Cover it up. Somewhere. Sweet. You don't want to. I don't use sweet wines. No, sweet wines. I don't want that sugar. I'm not a sugar in my sauce kind of guy.
Yeah.
If you are, maybe a sweet wine will help. But I'm not a sugar in the sauce guy.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I like the natural things to happen.
Leslie mentioned roasted butternut squash soup. We actually just made that not that long ago. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound good. We could do that. So you're gonna let it cook 45 minutes or so. And then we've got one that's been going and smelling at the house and driving the kids nutso.
Okay.
And we will scoop it out and show you.
See you in 10 minutes. Oh, wait, I think it takes...
So you can see it reduces down a little bit. It gets a nice consistency of sauce. Here's the stem that I had in there from the basil. Just pull it out next time, or just don't serve it to your guest. And you want to put it over pasta, You want to just eat it like it is, have at it. But... a good crusty bread.
I have never wanted smell-o-vision more than this episode. I'll be honest with you. This episode, I want some. Yeah, you'll be in the office tomorrow, right?
That's right.
I mean, just
there's not gonna be meatballs.
Stick one of them backwards to the side.
If there's leftovers, the kids have. I've done well when the kids are like drooling, waiting to eat. And like, can we eat it? Can we eat it? Can we eat it?
Well, guess who's? They're doing dishes though, right? They got to clean up.
Yeah, right. Good one. They'll leave them there until you ask them.
Well, listen, if it was Tom, if I was there, I would clean up. I just
that.
Yes.
You hear that, Shizuka?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, she's all over that.
Don't get me in trouble with Shiz.
So that's our meatballs and sauce.
I
Pretty
love
simple
it.
stuff. It's really, really not that hard. Don't overthink it. Don't overdo it. Good ingredients, just the right amount, and you'll have a great sauce. And
That looks
any questions, just ask.
That looks amazing. Well, we do. It looks like we're getting a couple of soup requests. It's probably because this is a cold weekend, right? So
It is that time of year.
our pal Tracy Neerhoff said, I need to get bean and ham soup. Oh my gosh, Tom, that looks so good. Yeah, so we may have to do soup. We should do a soup off.
Yeah.
For a Super Bowl. And I did not say, listen, don't come after me for any kind
Big
of
game soup off.
FCC violation. I meant soup, SOUPER bowl. Okay.
You already got in trouble and can't post the live. Now
I
you're in trouble.
Now the NFL's going to come after me next. I have no money, people. I have no money. All right. Like, there's nothing here.
See,
It's
I
gone.
like a good chicken noodle soup. So
I do too.
Butternut squash sounds good. What's another good soup? And put some in the comments, and we'll pick one.
Yeah,
and make a soup.
yeah, and like stock pot. I think I'm addicted to stock pots. Stock pot, Norfolk, Virginia Beach. If you haven't been there, go support local. But they have a amazing chicken noodle soup. Probably have dreams of it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat a good chicken noodle soup. And again, it's not that hard. It really isn't. So maybe we'll do that. We'll start with a whole bird or something. I don't know. Throw some in the comments. I got 2 weeks. I'll think of something. And we'll make
well, depending on what happens today, I may be really celebrating Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm not saying anything. I'm not throwing anything out. We're not saying who. We're not putting anything out there. But I hope it's a great weekend.
Go Bills.
Yeah. And I just hope everybody has fun on the football field this weekend. That's what I pray for. So, all right. Well, I know you got to get to work. You got lots to do. You're showing some houses today. And correct. I am getting ready to hunker down because I got a bunch of virtual appointments. So, good luck. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. See you next time.
Or Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know when we're doing it. We'll see. All right, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
And then I never know when.